Hi everybody, it's us again. Time for our Smoochie bite. And today we thought it's not such a bite, but it's talking about an important thing for when you're an animal owner and actually for humans as well. And it's the topic of worms and parasites. Ew! But that's what we're talking about today. So there's many different types of worm infestations, and people are going to go, like I do, my dogs don't have worms. They eat in the kitchen and they like eat only branded food and, you know, chicken for my little one. However, there is still a chance that they could have worms. So Meg, is that what we're talking about? Can my dogs living in the home, sleeping in the bed, still have worms?
Absolutely. So unfortunately, worms don't really have anything to do with, you know, the kind of environment that the dogs are living in. You know, they can pick it up from, you know, your neighbor's cat or your neighbor's dog or whatever. And another worm that's quite prevalent in South Africa that's probably more dangerous than any of your kind of tapeworms or anything like that is
domestic worms.
Exactly. You know, the worms that you kind of associate normally with pets or even humans sometimes. Is a thing people call it throat worm. The real name for it is Spirocerca.
What?
Yeah. And it's
I bet you can't do it again. Do it.
Spirocerca. But it's quite a nasty worm. It usually comes from, you know, dogs picking up bird poop and things like that in the garden. And it starts off kind of burrowing into their throat, and segments of the body actually break up and start spreading to the rest of the body. So what ends up happening, your dog ends up developing a kind of worm infestation in its lungs and its heart, and unfortunately your dog can die from it. So with regards to deworming, I would say that it's really a necessity in South Africa. You know, you just really don't want to risk your dog picking up that really nasty parasite, because it is bad.
and having said that, for some worms, not the Spirocerca one, that's not the one that probably is contagious to women, or I mean to people, right? But it is for only in animals. It spreads in animals.
So generally it only spreads from pet to pet. There's no huge risk of you kind of contracting this throat worm from your dog. Obviously you have to be careful of the other worms, because those are those are contagious to people as well. But I wouldn't say that it's generally something that you need to be concerned about, that you develop in yourself or in your kids or whatever when they're playing with the dogs.
And the other thing is, how often do we need to deworm our animals and ourselves?
So for people, generally not as often. For dogs specifically, because there is a risk of them developing this throat worm, I would say that for your pets you need to deworm them at least once a month.
Really?
Yeah, especially for those that are living on kind of bigger properties, you know, that are on plots or have larger gardens. It really is a necessity to do it every single month. For those that are living in a complex, you know, the dog isn't getting a huge amount of interaction or spending a lot of time in the garden and that sort of thing, you can maybe look at once every 2 months and sometimes once every 3 months. But obviously, you know, it's always better to be safe than sorry. So I would recommend just deworming your pets once a month. It also decreases the risk of you picking up worms.
And I have a last question for you. How do you actually know, or how does it manifest? So how would you know if your animal has got a worm infestation? Do they get sick, or doesn't it show? So
there's a couple of symptoms. So with your kind of more common worms, so your tapeworms and things like that manifest themselves in the intestine and digestive system, the biggest symptom is that your dog's bum will start itching. So they will start scooting across the ground, and you know, it becomes quite obvious then that there's something wrong. With regards to the throat worm, what sometimes happens, it's not always detectable, but every now and then what will happen, your dog will start displaying similar symptoms to when they get kennel cough, you know, or allergies. They start this kind of kind of coughing and spluttering, and you can just hear that it almost sounds like there's something stuck in their throats. And so that would be your kind of first sign for throat worm. It doesn't always mean that it is throat worm, but and sometimes there are no symptoms, so it's better to just deworm every single month, and then you don't have to be worried.
Okie dokie. So keep deworming and watch out for those pesty things, the names that I can't even say. Have a great day today.
Cheers everyone.
Bye.